Biggest diva of the world. You see it all on Catch It. Rare and special things. You see them all on Catch It. See all the odd and crazy people out of the ordinary. Gossip and rumors, facts and facts, astonishing and scary. Catch it.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Catch It. We have a wonderful show for you this evening. On percussions, we have Mr. Jeff Harris and dancer extraordinaire, Miss Susie Q. And I'm going to give you the show of life. We have the incomparable Mr. RuPaul Charles, supermodel of the world, on the show tonight. As well, we'll be taking a tour through Tinseltown. Yes, that's Hollywood for you in Catch It land. And I'll be reliving my favorite moments at Life Ball in Vienna, Austria. So please, sit back, enjoy, and get into it. Catch it. Welcome to Catch It.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank
It's
you
my
for coming
pleasure to
out.
be here.
Thank you for coming.
Anything for you, my little gay daughter.
It's a pleasure to have you here, but on Catch It, we like to talk about things that are normally not spoken about in life, in general. So I wrote some questions for you in particular to answer.
I'm fine with that. I know you're going to be sweet and nice
I am
to
a
me.
nice person.
That's right.
Okay. My first question would be, do you consider yourself predestined, or are you fully responsible for your fate?
Oh, I think I'm responsible for my lending my will to whatever my higher power wants me to do. I'm responsible for that, but I think my higher power has something for me. I have a choice in whether I want to do it with joy or with pain. I think there is there is a force at work here, and I can fight it, or and go along begrudgingly, or I can just go with it. And I found that my experience on this planet has been much better and more comfortable if I don't fight it.
See it all on Catch It.
Well, I'm back, and here I'm on Melrose Avenue at Retail Flat, doing what I do best, posing. I'm a mannequin. Catch it. My body, my face, my attitude.
Yes, this is Retail Slut, established in 1983. It's one of the second oldest store on Melrose Avenue in Hollywood, California. We've done a lot of stuff for lots of different bands and movies and stuff. Pretty much every band that's been on MTV has been in our store at one time or another. Just this summer we did a lot of clothes for Madonna's world tour. And we are the exclusive designer for Jasmine, our fancy mannequin right here. We're going to be dressing her up a little later on today. You can see some of the glamorous outfits we pick out for her. We'll do what you can because she's trying to cop my look with this blue hair.
Feel it deep, are you ready for me? 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 Feel it.
You see it all on Catch It. You see them all on Catch It.
Who has been important to you in your life?
I think my biggest influence from the very beginning was my mother, in a good way and in a bad way. In a good way in that she was very nonconformist and really said, you do what you want to do and don't give no care to what other people have to say about it, almost to a fault, because she didn't have a lot of friends because of that philosophy.
You speak as if she's gone on.
My mother passed away I think it's been 8 years ago. 8 years she had cancer, and it was a really hard thing for my whole family. But you know, in hindsight, I realized that she died from cancer, but I think that my mother died from holding a grudge, because I know that thoughts can manifest themselves into a physical reality, and I think the greatest thing about my mother was her will and her conviction, but at the same time, I think that's probably what killed her too.
And was she able to enjoy any of your success?
You know,
as RuPaul?
when she got in '93, she died in, I think, March or April of '93, and in February, MTV had done a story on me, and I was in San Diego at the time, which is where I'm from, and she was very ill at the time. We were watching television, and MTV came on, and Kurt Loder came on in a news break saying, "Coming up next, he's a singing sensation, blah, 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 blah." I'd done a story with them the week before, and my mother looked at me and said, "Nigga, you are crazy."
Oh, no.
And you know, that's a sweet thing coming from my mother.
Right.
So that was as close to it as her seeing it. She knew it was coming. In fact, you know, when I was born, they said, "Tony, what are you going to name the baby?" And she said, "His name is going to be RuPaul Andre Charles, and he's going to be a star, because ain't another motherfucker alive with a name like that."
Okay.
Now, that statement alone gives you an idea of who my mother was, that type of...
Now, who were you when you were a child? Were you the RuPaul that we know today, or?
You know, and I'm the way I was as a child is as I am today, which is I am an introvert masquerading as an extrovert.
So I'm going to ask you two questions then. What was your dream then? What is your dream today? And not for world peace, but personal dream.
Well, my dream then was to be recognized and to be, I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be a star. I wanted to be creative, and I wanted to be recognized. And, you know, today, my dream is to recognize myself. Because I thought that I would get the validation from the world through fame and that kind of thing, and that's part of my journey.
Yes.
I wouldn't know that as a kid, but now my dream is to recognize myself and allow other people to love me, and to be, you know, to tear down the walls, to be more vulnerable, and to have faith that in that vulnerability, nothing can hurt me. Actually, that vulnerability is really a place of power.
You see it all on Catch It.
Catch It, baby. I'm here at the Live Ball 2001, and I've got the hottest, most fierce people from around the world. We're here in Vienna, Austria, and we're having a good time. Boys, you look good.
John.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Vienna. I am delighted to be here with all of you this evening as a special guest of the Life Ball.
Sir Elton John, dear Elton, I want to give you this check for $250,000 British pounds.
Mr. Marcus Schickenberg, one of the top models in the entire world. I just want to say it's a pleasure to meet you. Did you have a great time tonight?
I had a great time, yeah.
At Life Ball. Can you just say, amongst all these people, have you been here before?
Yeah, I've been here many times.
So you're a big supporter of Life Ball.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you with us, and you look great, and you were wonderful on the Fat Show. Thank you
very much.
Have a great time. Bye-bye.
You see it all on Catch It. You see them all on Catch It.
He looks great, and he's full of life, and he's at the Life Ball. They just revealed him.
You're so fine, lose my mind, and the world seems to disappear. All those problems, all those fears, and the world seems to disappear. You're so fine, lose my mind, and the world seems to disappear. All those problems, all those fears, and the world seems to disappear.
They've had some extravagant, beautiful things taking place here tonight. Aside from the extraordinary costumes that I've seen, the people were wonderful. The energy was wonderful. The cocktails were flowing. Everyone was in a good spirit. Elton John, Marcus Schickenberg, star-studded event. So many stars I can't even name. Nikki Harris, and myself. I was here. I couldn't believe it. And I had a great time. I look forward to coming back. So listen out there. If you've never been to Life Ball in Vienna, make it a must on your next year's holiday plan, Life Ball. You never know what you're gonna see and what you're gonna get, but you're gonna get this. Catch it. Has there been a decisive turning point in your life?
At 7 years old, my parents divorced, and it was a huge benchmark and a huge turning point. At 14, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. It was sort of like my bar mitzvah. It was sort of, you know. And then at 21 is when I really fully got into show business and really made a choice to, I'm going to do this completely. At 28, I remember I was on the ball of my ass here, and I was actually in California at the time. And it was, you know, so there have been these benchmarks every 7 years.
You just spoke of your father. Is your father still involved in?
My father we've never really been close. We've had this sort of kiki and cutting up relationship that's never been really deep, you know. In fact, my mother and father are polar opposites. My mother's very moody and very, almost dark. She was almost dark. My father was very, ha ha ha, he. And I have both of that. So my father, we don't really have a deep relationship. Sweet, ha ha ha, he, but nothing really substantial. And for years I wished that it was more substantial, but it's not. And I learned a few years ago that you can't go to a Chinese restaurant and order lasagna. Right. They don't have it. They say, sir, you know, you have to go down the street to the Italian restaurant for that. So I've always went to my father wanting one thing, but he didn't have it to give.
Understandable. Did you have a job when you were 14, 15, like a summer job somewhere? Did you do some unusual job that we should know about before you became RuPaul, the international supermodel and celebrity, queen of all media?
Slut, right? Well, you know, when my growing up, my sister Renetta was my soul sister. She's like an angel for me. And when I was about 14, I was having a lot of trouble in school. Got kicked out, got flunked, you know, held back and all that stuff. My rebellious side was really coming out. And my sister and her husband were planning to move to Atlanta, Georgia, and she asked me if I wanted to come along. So I did. And my brother-in-law at the time was working in the car business, and he started the car business in Atlanta. So I worked for him. So he was a real mentor in my life, my brother-in-law, Lawrence. And from the time I was 14 to probably 21, I worked in his car business. He would sell upscale cars. He would broker them. He would buy them low and sell them high. Jaguar, Mercedes, Rolls-Royce, Porsche, everything that had a huge turnover.
Would you fix them? Would you drive them?
No, because I wasn't good at selling cars. He would do the selling. He would send me, when I had my driver's license, to other cities in the United States to pick them up, buy them, and drive them back to Atlanta, where he would fix them up and sell them all over the United States. And I did that for a long time, until I was 21. And he would send me down to the library in Atlanta, Georgia, and I would look at all the newspapers and classified ads from all over the United States and Xerox them, circle cars that I thought were good. Then he would call the people up, work out a deal, and send me to Florida or wherever to buy the car and drive it back.
You were very involved.
I was very involved. I couldn't sell cars though. I was not a person who could sell cars. You know, my philosophy has always been, do you want it? Well, if you don't want it, then fine. You know, but for that kind of thing, you really have to do a hard sell. And I'm not that. I don't have that personality.
But you know how to sell in drags and
I knew how to sell that
okay.
because I believe in the product. You know,
Okay.
The car. It was fun because it gave me an opportunity to interact with other people and do a lot of traveling, and a lot just I would do on my own. I would do it by myself. You know, it was great. It was a great experience.
Now, going on, what do you consider yourself? Do you consider yourself a drag queen, a transgender illusionist, a transsexual, a preoperative transsexual,
a circus clown?
You know, a post-op, because there's so many levels
many.
and leverage to it these days. And
well, you know, I get asked that question all the time, and you know, it's interesting because I've become famous doing this. I've somehow, by default, become the spokesperson for transgender, transsexual, transam, transformers throughout the world, you know. This is a touchy subject for me too because, you know, in our culture, women don't dress the way drag queens dress. Only drag queens dress that way. Women wear t-shirt, jeans, slacks, and jackets, but they're not considered cross-dressers.
Right.
It's just it's a cultural thing, you know, and drag queens dress over the top.
Right.
And there are drag queens who are men and there are drag queens who are women.
Right.
A female drag queen would be Pamela Anderson, Zsa Zsa Gabor, LaToya Jackson, anyone who goes overboard.
The top, with the breasts and the hair.
Everything. But the male drag queens do the same thing. Prince is a male drag. Elvis was a male drag.
Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson, who dressed over the top. So it doesn't have to do with a sexual thing. It has to do with dressing over the top.
And perform. It's more of like
it's a performance thing, you know. So, and you know, my kindergarten teacher, Miss Garfield, I'll never forget her. I was obsessed with this woman. Her name was Miss Garfield, and she used to wear slingback mule shoes, and she would have her hair always up. She always wore false eyelashes. I was at kindergarten, and I would look at her and go, oh my God. And she would always wear little skirts, and she was a drag queen. I was obsessed with Miss Garfield. She drove a Cadillac, which is the true sign of a queen. You know,
a big car.
Big car. She was really flashy. I was hypnotized by her shoes. She always wore mules like candies all the time.
See it all on Catch It.
I think that was just fine.
Terrific.
Beautiful. Yep.
Thank you so much.
I know you feel you lost your way. Rainy nights, long, lonely days. You realize with every beat of your heart that now and then you need a call, a friend, a guiding light who's been right there where you stand. One little word, and you won't be by yourself. Say my name, and I'm here for you. Don't you know I will stay by your side? Say my name, and I'm here for you. Don't you know I will stay by your Remember when there was a time you were my eyes while I was oh so blind. You led the way and put a light in my heart. 'Cause now and then you need a call on a friend, a guiding light who's been right there where you stand. One little word and you won't be by yourself. Say my name, and I'm here for you. Don't you know I will stay by your side? Say my name, and I'm here for you. Don't you know I will stay by your Say my name.
Do you enjoy doing videos?
It's hard.
Yeah,
I
you're
you know I
everywhere.
don't really like. I wish I could say I like doing video. I don't. It's really hard, and it's there's never enough time. And the vision that we start out with is always different from the vision that what it ends up being. And at one point you just gotta let it go. You just gotta say,
Listen.
it is what it is.
What was a low point and a high point in your life?
Well, I have to say the lowest point, when I split up with George a few years ago, that was a really hard time. That was really hard. But it was a blessing. I have to, it's all perception. At the time, it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. But, a lot of times, the worst thing, in hindsight, the worst things ended up being the best things because it forced me to change. In
In a positive way?
In a positive way.
Or just
I really had to go deep and go see what's going on in here and check in and process my feelings. It's very easy. Our culture is one that teaches us to not process feeling. If you feel, if you have a feeling, don't feel it. If you have a headache, take an aspirin. If you you feel sad, have some ice cream. It's always don't work through the feelings, do something else and pile it on top of it. So in that sense, it was a great thing because it forced me to go deep, High point of my life, is right now, this moment, waking up this morning and knowing that I've been blessed with another day to experience this experience.
And
Good,
endless
bad,
possibilities.
Endless possibilities, good, bad, wrong, whatever. it's just experience. You know, I've learned to not think of it as good or bad, but it's just experience. And I thank God for this, for the experience, the blessing to have the opportunity to live my life and to touch people and to love.
Right.
You know.
Well, thank you so much, RuPaul. I appreciate you coming out tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here at Venice Beach Boardwalk, and we're looking for Pamela Anderson. Really not even about Pamela?
No, I'm sorry.
Have you seen her?
I'm sorry, I can't answer questions.
You're sorry
don't
that you
wanna
haven't
get me in
seen her?
trouble, do you? I can
No.
give you a phone number and you can call them and you can arrange something.
Are you
but I
related
can't
to
answer
her?
questions. What's that?
Are you related to
I'm
Pamela?
sorry, I can't answer questions. I can get you that phone number. I'm trying to be helpful.
Is it Pamela's number?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Is this the real Pamela? Because I was looking for Pamela Anderson, but this is Pamela. This is wonderful. You look great on your skateboard. I have my brand new show, Catch It, and I just wanted to say how remarkable it is that you're down here skating. Are you doing it for health reasons, or are you just enjoying skating?
Just enjoyed skating.
Well, you look great doing it. Now, are you a fan of the Red Sox? Because I like the Blue Jays. Red Sox. Have they won any games this year?
I don't know.
Okay, can you do me a favor? Can you just roll down there? Let's see you here at the Venice Beach on your skateboard. Incredible, Pamela! And it's all natural. I swear to God, it's all natural. I can tell. You know, being young and youthful and beautiful, it's very difficult. I handle it somehow. Wow, what a time we had this evening. I'd like to thank my guest, RuPaul, my lovely dancer, Susie Q, Mr. Jeff Harris on percussion. I am your host, Jasmine. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and until we meet again, catch it.